Hi guys, welcome to Binary Programming. Today in this video we will see the APIKit router. As we know how important is APIKit router when it comes to exposing your APIs either as REST or SOAP. And there are so many people who think that APIKit router is just a tool to generate flows, but in reality it is more than that. So here we will see all the functionalities of APIKit router and also we'll see the configuration for it in MuleSoft. So first we will see what is APIKit router. APIKit router is used to develop API as REST or SOAP. It is available as a plugin in Mule 4. Till Mule 3 it was embedded with Mule runtime only, and because of that we were not able to change or update the version of it individually. But this is not the case with Mule 4. As I said, it is available as a plugin, so we can easily update, and also if you want to change the version, you can do that using POM file. And to use APIKit, first we have to define the specification for API. API specification is nothing but the metadata for your API. If you are exposing your service as REST, you have to define RAML, and for SOAP we can define WSDL. So here I am creating my service using RESTful API. For that reason I have created this very simple RAML, and for RAML design either you can use Design Center or any third-party tool of your preference. Here I am using Design Center to design my RAML, and you can see I have created one resource with the name student details with method type get, and it also expecting one query parameter of string type, and in response it expecting 200 with the JSON type body. So here you can either download the project or you can import directly in Studio from the Design Center. So let me go to AnyPoint Studio and show you. So here you can see I have the project created, but let me show you how you can do that. So you can go to File, New, and then Mule Project. So you can define the project name and select the runtime version, and you can select this checkbox, specify API definition, file location or URL. So here you will get two options, browse files and Design Center. So browse files means if you have downloaded the project from Design Center, you can directly import it from local, or you can directly log into Design Center, and from there you can select the API for which you want to do the implementation, and then you can click on finish. Okay, so here as I have already created, so once you will click on that finish, the flow will get automatically generated. So here you might be thinking that for me flow is not generated because I copy pasted this RAML to show you people that how we can do the configuration at the APIKit level. Okay, so here if this is the case that you are directly copy pasting this RAML in this API folder, so you can directly go to main RAML, you can right click and you can go to Mule, and there you will get the option generate flows from REST API. So if you will click on this, it will generate the flows based on your API specification that you have defined in the RAML. Okay, and one more thing is like this API specification, it is coming in source main resources. So since Mule 4 it has added in source main resources. In Mule 3 it used to come in main folder. So here let me go to APIKit poc.xml, and here we can drag this APIKit router. So let me drag it, and here if I'll click on this plus sign, so here you can see the complete configuration that we have to define for our APIKit. So here first you can define the name for your APIKit global element, and then from this REST API definition file, from here you can select the RAML. So as I have already copied RAML in this API, so for that reason it is coming here. So here you can select this one, and this outbound header and HTTP status. So outbound header and HTTP status is like variables or property name that we are defining. So this outbound header, it identifies the header name, and this HTTP status, this is a variable name to store the HTTP response. Okay, now the next parameter is required is this one, but this is deprecated after 1.2.0. and this one is kept only for the compatibility with APIKit 1.1.x. Okay, so this is a deprecated version, as I'm using the version 1.3x. And the next option is it is available as disable validation. This is the one feature of APIKit, that it validates the incoming request and the query parameters whatever you have defined in your YAML specification. So here you can if you will disable this validation, then it will not do the validation. Okay, now the next part is query parameter strict validation and headers strict validation. So these two are like YAML have defined the roll number. So apart from roll number, if I'll pass some other parameter, some other query parameter, so in that case, and also if I have selected this one, so in that case what would happen, this will give me error bad request, because whatever specifications you have defined in your YAML, that query parameters only it will allow. Apart from that, if you will pass anything extra, this will give error. If you will uncheck this one, then you can pass any of the parameter which are not and say head. Now the next configuration it is required is like this mappings. So mappings means here you can click plus sign and there you can define the mapping. So if we are having only single resource, for that reason it is coming only one. So here from this list, if you are having multiple resource, from this list you can select the resource name and then the type. So action means type of the method, as this resource is having the get type method, so for that reason it is coming get. And in the content type you can select the content type, like what is the request type, content type application, JSON, XML. So whatever you are defining in the YAML specification, that you can select here. And then this is a flow name. So for this resource type, if there would be any request will come, so where you want to redirect that flow you can select here. Okay, so this all stuff it automatically when you will click on this generate RESTful API, so automatically it do all this stuff. But if you are changing the flow for the default flows, then we can do. So here you can define the map, and then here this is a deprecated, this one also kept only for this 1.2.0, and this is a deprecated attributes, and it is not useful for version 1.3. so we will leave this blank. So with this we are done with our configuration. Okay, so now let me just cancel it, and we can delete this one also. And here in the resources API, I can just right click, generate flows. Okay, so here you can see it has generated the flow. In the APIKit, if you will see, it has defined the same configuration. So here in the edit, if you will click, here we can see it has selected this sample.yaml specification, and in the mapping by default it will call that only. So apart from the main flow, we can see it has generated one more flow and shows, and this flow it generate based on the resource name. So as we are having one resource only, so for that reason it has created the flow, one flow only with the name, with the student details name and the method type get. Okay, and this one is having the sample response that we have defined in YAML specification. Okay, so here, and this is the sample console. This is if you want to mock and test your API, you can do using this one, but this is not important. So so with this we are done with our API configuration. So here we can see that routing and validation could be the two features of APIKit router. As routing, like when there is a new request come, it perform the routing and it redirect the request to a specific flow. And validation, like for the same request only, define the schema in the YAML, then it will do the validation against that request, and if there is any error, it throws the error response. So now let me run it and show you. If I'll select this option, then what will happen. So let me first select this one, okay, and now let me run it. Okay, so as this got deployed, let me just clear it and we can go to Postman. But before that, let me identify what is the endpoint or path we have defined here. So first we can go to this sample HTTP listener and let me see if I have defined any base path. So I haven't defined anything in base path. So directly we can go to message flow and here we can see API. So the host is localhost only, port is 8081 only, and this one is the API. Then this is this flow, right? So this is the resource name. This is the resource name. We can select this resource name and method type. Method type is get. Okay, so here we can select the method type get, and there is a one parameter, there is a one query parameter. It was mandatory, right? So we can go to sample.raml. So here we can see roll number and it is required as true. So here we have to pass this one, but maybe without that one only, let me try to hit this and see what error we will. As this is a bed request, so ideally it should return 400. So here we can see it has returned 400 with the bed request because the query parameter it is required. And here we can see our APIKit has thrown this error with the bed request and it is expecting the roll number as a query parameter. So here let me pass the roll number with the value 123 and hit. So here we can see I'm getting 200 with the response student details. Okay, now as we have selected this option here, so in the APIKit, as we have enabled this option, query parameter strict validation. So here if I'll pass any extra parameter like name with then it should give error. So here we can see it is giving error because in RAML specification we have defined only roll number. Name parameter are not defined in RAML. So for that reason it is giving error. If I'll uncheck that option from here, if I'll uncheck this option, okay, and just save it and redeploy it. And now if I'll try to hit this, so we can see now it is working. I have passed roll number and name both. It is working correctly. Okay. So I hope you are clear on the APIKit. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comment section. Thank you.